It is very unusual how the New England Patriots are spending in free agency this season. They're usually known as a team that would rather sign an old veteran for minimal money rather than a superstar player for millions of dollars. But in the past few days alone, they have managed to sign over 3 Pro Bowlers for tens of millions of dollars, which is very out of the ordinary for how the New England Patriots usually act. Especially after how last season ended, I believe that the Patriots were going to try to rebuild after their disappointing year where they didn't even reach the playoffs. But they re-signed Cam Newton, and they really look to be building around Cam Newton and maybe even try to make another playoff run. What's up, everybody? It's AC Analysis, and as a Patriots fan myself, I don't think I've ever been more hyped for an offseason than this year's. And the Patriots, like I said in the intro, are usually not known for spending this much on players all throughout the season. That's not how they really work. But this is completely out of the ordinary for the Patriots, and it's really exciting to see how many big players that they have signed. I will talk about the players later in the video. And I actually had a different video all prepared, and then just out of nowhere, in the next 24 hours, the Patriots signed about 5 new players. And I wanted to make a video all about the Patriots signings and how well they'll be able to do next season. So now with that being said, let's get right into the video. Last season was disappointing for the New England Patriots, to say the least. They ended up going third in the division with a 7-9 record, which is the first time they haven't won the AFC East all the way back in 2008 when Tom Brady had his ACL injury. And since then, they've been playing really good, and we all know what's happened in the past few years, that they have managed to win many Super Bowls, and if not, reach the championship game. And they also had the record for most NFL AFC championship games reached in a row, which was also snapped this season. And the main reason was because Tom Brady was gone, and there wasn't much weapons around the New England Patriots. Most of the players that played for the Pats that was in the wide receiver core, like Gronk and Chris Hogan, were all gone off to different teams, and the Patriots did not have much to work with. And then everything came back. All the hype came back for the New England Patriots after Tom Brady left, when Cam Newton ended up signing with the Patriots for a very small contract. And after the Patriots won the first game of the season, I was actually quite excited for what the future held for Cam Newton. And then in the second week, they barely lost to the Seattle Seahawks in another close game that ended off at the 1-yard line. So with this, I thought Patriots would be really strong, and many people thought that they were Super Bowl contenders. But then it all fell downhill from there. The defense stopped playing well like it did last season, and Cam Newton really showed his age, as he wasn't able to get check downs, he wasn't able to get the ball down the field. To be fair, he did not have many wide receivers around him. His leading wide receiver was Jacoby Myers, who is at best a second-string wide receiver, who ended up catching 730 yards and just a few touchdowns. So the Patriots had nothing around them, which obviously caused them to go 7-9 and not have a good season whatsoever, which was really weird as a Pats fan, seeing the Pats do bad. But now they've just signed so many players, and next season seems to be looking up for them. Before we get any further in the video, if you guys can take 1 second to like and subscribe to my channel, it would be really helpful and helps me make more videos like these. And now let's get back into the video. After watching Cam Newton's pretty abysmal season last year, I did not really want him to stay on the New England Patriots, but the Patriots ended up re-signing him, and the only reason that I can really think that would happen is because of how big he is in the locker room, how much of a team player he is, and how hard he works to be good on the Patriots. I'm sure some of you guys have seen the videos. He worked so hard to try to perform well and have a great comeback season with the Patriots, but he ended up not doing it, and the season was just a complete flop. But it seems like the organization still believes in him and is giving him one more shot, this time putting weapons around him. On the screen here, I have all the players that the Patriots have signed, and usually they don't spend any money in free agency, but they have spent 3 times the amount of money in free agency in the past 24 hours than the past 2 years combined, which says a lot. I'll just list some of the players they have signed. Matthew Judon, a pass rusher for the Baltimore Ravens. Jonnu Smith, a young former tight end for the Tennessee Titans. Hunter Henry, a young tight end for the Chargers. Nelson Aguilar, a wide receiver. And then some other players such as Kendrick Bourne, who's almost like a Julian Edelman. And then some other fill-in slots. So these are some big players that are also Pro Bowl type players. And after Gronk left, they managed to sign 2 top 10 tight ends in the NFL in Jonnu Smith and Hunter Henry, who have both only been in the league for 2 seasons. But the one that really stands out to me out of those 2 is Hunter Henry, because Bill Belichick, ever since Hunter Henry entered the NFL draft, has always been eyeing him. I remember in the draft when Patriots said that they wanted to get Henry, but they weren't able to since the Chargers drafted him first. Well, now the player that Belichick has always been eyeing has got a $25 million contract, as well as Jonnu Smith, another solid tight end, getting $31 million. But the biggest player that we're getting out of this is Matthew Judon, who was a star pass rushing linebacker for the Baltimore Ravens, signing for $32 million. And then Nelson Aguilar is a solid team wide receiver, as well as Kendrick Bourne. So I am so excited at all these players that the Patriots have signed. And next season seems so great with all these amazing weapons around Cam Newton. So of course he also has to fix his arm, try to become a better thrower. But with all these weapons, with 2 solid tight ends and 2 extra wide receivers with him, he finally has some threats that he can work with. And the team's offense finally looks scary again. Honestly, when I look back at it, I'm happy that Cam Newton is staying with the Patriots. Even though he had no weapons around him, he was such a humble man. He never complained to Bill Belichick. He always tried to focus on himself. And because of that, he clearly wants to be good on the Patriots. He's not going to be back. He's not going to be like that 2015 Cam Newton, who was very loud and ratty. He wants to be that really strong locker room presence that people can look to. And I believe that he will have a great comeback next season. Of course, only time will tell. But let's see what the future holds for Cam Newton. But with the Patriots spending so much on free agency, of course they would also have to let some players go. And one of those players is their star left guard Joe Thuney, who was one of the only bright spots on the Patriots last season, and he was traded away to the KC Chiefs. And I kind of expected something like this to happen, since if you guys did not know, the Chiefs actually managed to release 2 of their star offensive linemen, and then their starting quarterback Patrick Mahomes got a little angry about it, since the problem in the Super Bowl was the offensive line. And instead of fixing that up, they just released 2 of the offensive linemen. So now they have a solid replacement in Joe Thuney. And then there have also been some rumors, I'm not sure to which team specifically, but the center for the Patriots, David Andrews, is rumored to also be getting traded away to another team. So with all the new weapons that you've signed, of course, you need to also try to get an offensive lineman. So I'm hoping that in the draft, the Patriots manage to draft a solid offensive lineman that can make up for the players that you've lost and maybe are going to lose. Since without a good offensive line, all these weapons don't really have use, because Cam Newton is not going to have time to throw the ball. So with all these additions, how well do I think the Patriots will manage to perform next season? I don't believe that they will be going 7-9 like last year, but I'm not sure if they can win the division. And that is because there's a new leader and a new team that is stronger than the rest, and that is the Buffalo Bills, who last season, their starting quarterback Josh Allen had his breakout year, and the team managed to go 12-4 and make it to the AFC Championship game before falling short to the KC Chiefs, in a game that was actually pretty exciting. But they are going to be stronger this year, because of course Dante Hightower and Patrick Chung are coming back, who are 2 cornerstone defensive players that weren't there for the Patriots, which really hurt them last season. And then they're also going to be healthy again. Hopefully Sony Michel can be healthy, since last season he showed flashes of being a very strong player before he got out with injuries. So I think this team's going to be much better. I think Cam Newton is going to improve, and I think they'll be able to work well with the weapons around them, especially their 2 new tight ends. At this point, this will become one of the most dangerous tight end duos in the entire NFL. So I believe that this team will manage to go 11-5 next season and make a wild card spot. Of course, I'm not really sure. For all I know, they could win the division and Bills can have an absolute flunk. But I think they're going to go 11-5, get the wild card round, and not sure how far they're going in the playoffs. But like I said, as a Pats fan, I don't think I've ever been so excited for a season, because this is completely different from what we usually get to see. With that being said, I'll wrap up this video. This has been AC Analysis, making my prediction for how well the Patriots will play next season, and talking about all the players that they have acquired. Leave your thoughts in the comments below about how well the Patriots will perform next season, and do you think that they overpaid for some of the players? I think so too, but I am just so excited to see how the season unfolds for the New England Patriots. And before I wrap it up, if you guys can take 1 second to like and subscribe, it would be really helpful towards my channel, and helps me make more videos like these. Thank you guys so much for watching. See you next time.